My first encounter or love I received from Satguruji Singh Ji was when I was a kid who went to India for the first time with my mom. That was like, what, 40 plus years ago. And we were on our way to Mussoorie to stay first time to my boarding. And my mom stopped at Satguruji Singh's place there used to be a dairy those times in Delhi. And Satguruji Singh was there. And I went there and my mom got darshan and Satguruji Singh asked a very simple question, Kaka kithe hai? And my mom told him that he is not going to come in. He's not in kurta pajama, he's in his neela colored trousers. He's very shameful of himself, he's not going to walk in. And I was only 8 or 9 years old those times, and it was all my mother's teachings based on those. And Pasha so lovingly said, Kaka nu bula, jis tarah vi on deo. And I was pulled into his private chambers where he was actually resting. I remember his first time I saw Pasha close up, he was actually resting in his chambers alone, and he asked everyone to leave and I was alone. And then he took me on and made me sleep on his chest and put kambal on top of me and said, never be afraid of me. And I was like, since then I understood what's the feeling of Guru, what's the feeling of father, the real father, you're born having that type of father. And from then onwards, I've never looked back. I've always thought, this is it. This is, if I have to follow someone, he is the one. And that was the first episode first time in my life I encountered pure love. Love of someone who I've never met, and he was giving me pure love. Okay, then a few years passed and things kept going, and then we were studying in Mahidol those days. I was studying with my sisters, everyone was back in Thailand, we were 20 plus years old. And Satguruji Singh used to have those volleyball sessions where everyone was asked to come and join. Even all the youngsters were pulled in for sports. Pasha joined in the sports himself. He was actually playing volleyball with every one of us. And there was a time when I was stuck with exams and I couldn't come to Asa Diwar. And I used to come only in the evening because there were sports. Very honestly, I was bunking the Asa Diwar story. And I was coming only to the evening, and Pasha was okay with it, I think. And my mom went and complained. Pasha ek munda swere uthan nu tiyar nahi hai. पढ़ाई दा बहाना देके नहीं आंदा सवेरे कुछ करो. Pasha lovingly answered in front of me, and she was there. Kaka ने वड्डी पढ़ाई करनी है, उन्हें करन दियो. And believe me, that time I was only in my first or second year of bachelor's degree. There was no plan ever to even do high studies. In fact, I didn't even think anyone was going to sponsor me far enough. And at that stage, I was thinking like, what do you mean by Vaddi Padhai, Pasha? I'm going to finish this, I'm going to work because my family needs me to work. Now, imagine that Bachchan that came out, he's going to do Vaddi Padhai. I started my PhD at the age of 36. No one does that. I mean, his Bachchan had to come true. And it was something that eye-opener that, once Pasha says something, it will happen at some stage in your life. It doesn't go wrong. It is not something he speaks and it doesn't happen. It will happen. And that's what it proved to me that point. So then there was always another case where I felt real presence of the holiness was after coming back from Singapore, working for so many years in Singapore. The reason I came back was for my back pain. I couldn't continue all that work I was doing, and all that remedies and therapies all in the hospitals were not working. The pain was never going away. I was suffering from tremendous pain. And one of the dore where Satguruji Singh came to Bangkok, my mom took me to meet him and ask him for bakshish karo. Pasha, bakshish karo. And I was like, I literally cried because it was really painful, and I had full hope he was going to do something about it because all doctors were not doing much. All medicines were not doing much. And I couldn't work, and I was the only working person in the family, so income was getting down and down because of all that. And Pashe heard this and said, "Ida karam rog hai." He was born to suffer this. My mom explained that to me later. You were born to suffer this. And Pashe said, "Sare onde ne, minu koi na koi takleef hai ne, and they all expect me to solve it." And then my mom started crying. I started crying as if we were being refused bakshish. We both cried there. We were in Dere in Pakamat those days. And then Pashe, for some reason, within 2 seconds, he said, "Munda, murja, turn around." He was sitting like this, right on his asan, and I was sitting on the ground. He said, "Turn." It means my back was to Sache Pasha. And Pasha took his charna and put it on my back. For I think 2-3 seconds, I felt it. Chal, tera takleef main bhi apne utte le lenni. At that point of time, I could feel the feeling that this is it. This is someone who has the magic touch. The I don't want to call it magic. It's a holy touch. It's a feeling that you know that now I'm solved. My problem is solved. But the guilt stayed with me. That when Pasha says "मैं अपने उत्ते ले लेने," and he actually continued that statement which says, "तो अन्य लोगों को नहीं पता मैं कितने तकलीफ अपने उत्ते ले चुका हूँ." And it was, I heard it in my own ears. I felt it there, and I had full vishwas. I'm done. I'm solved. My problem solved. Within 2 months from there, I stopped all medicines, I stopped all therapy, and I started working. My pain was gone. But the pain still persists, but never tortured again. In other words, the takleef is gone, the karam rog stayed. Till today, I feel the backache comes back once in a while, but I am 100% sure the torture was removed. I can live with it now. And that was the stage when doctors were saying, "You're going to actually get paralyzed," and this is the real doctor I met. Okay, so that's how I felt blessed, touched. Then I have another incident which I would like to tell everyone is this is the biggest one in my life, and I've never been so grateful to Satguruji Singh more than ever. We were blessed with Mangal Singh, second son, and when he was born, the doctors diagnosed him to suffer from thalassemia, which was a rare problem, and the doctor said if you don't solve it, he will live 20 years. Today he is already 23. He would live only 20 years because thalassemic patients don't last long. They have problems with their blood. It's almost like blood cancer. And we were panicking, and we went to the doctors. The doctors said, "This boy needs bone marrow transplant." And we went with our eldest son, Maan Singh, and he actually said, and doctor said, "No, the bone marrow doesn't match. So we can't use the eldest son." And at that time, for some reason, we never planned for a third kid. And the doctor said, "You need to have a third kid to use the correct bone marrow." But it still doesn't guarantee that that the bone marrow will match. It also takes a risk on the fact that she or he who is born will also have the same issue because it's a genetic problem. So based on that, we had to choose. So we asked Pasha's Kripa. Pasha's कहते ने जिन्हें doctor कहते ने उसtra करो. We asked for Pasha's Kripa, and after my daughter was born, I was always praying for a daughter now after having 2 sons. I was always praying for a daughter. A daughter was born. The daughter never had the issue of genetics. Her bone marrow matched her elder brother it was magic. Doctor says this is a miracle. It's a 1 in 1,000 case where a sibling is born, no genetic problem, And this is all pure Pasha's Kripa, because he said, do it. And in fact, when Mangal Singh, when Muskan wasn't born yet and Mangal Singh was having issues where the blood was getting worse and worse, we went crying to Pasha, and one of our relatives, she went to Panisab and requested for more bakshish about Mangal Singh. And Pasha said, "Tuannan lokon nu nahi pata, main innu kis jagah to wapas khich ke la chukka wa. Hun payan karo, ardas bakshish mango Sagur Pratap Singh ko lo, sab kuch theek ho jayega." And then the daughter was born, and we were crying like anything, because this is like pure happiness, pure blessing. And then it goes through Ilaj. Ilaj was not easy, and everything was blessed and smooth. And he's now 23 years old, finished college. We never dreamt of it. And that is the biggest blessing you can ever get from Pasha. He solves problems where even all doctors give up. That's my feeling. Other personal touches I have is like Pasha knows how to pull people in the Asadivar, come to the Nityanim, come to this thing. I never liked to go to Asadivar. I never liked to do Nityanim. And he embedded that by giving love. He never asked, Kaka karla. He used to say, Kaka aja. Maan Singh, you didn't come yesterday. You know, when your father tells you, you didn't come yesterday, your feeling is, he remembers me. And the next day you're running. You're going again. And you go there, you sleep in the Asadivar, and your guru takes a sugar and throws at you. I mean, that's something you can't imagine how it feels. You feel shameful and you feel blessed and you feel love. You feel ashamed as well at the same time. But yet you know that this is how your Pasha is going to keep remembering you. He's in your heart. You better keep him in your heart as well, right? So then there was one particular thing that I'll never forget for the rest of my life, that every time I'm in the Asadivar and Pasha notices me there is this tuk that comes in Asadivar that's a Darge Paya, and then the moment Darge Paya comes, he himself in the Diwan, right there, Maan comes out loud. It's like, wake up. And the way to wake up him, because I sleep a lot in the Asadivar. Till today, maybe not. Those days it was like teenage life. Sleeping in Asadivar was a normal thing. All right. My experiences showed me that you can't prove things, but it's fate. You know it exists. And the new generation does not see something and they don't believe it anymore. Point is, if you don't believe it, that's why it doesn't happen. You need to believe it, it will start happening. That's what I feel. Until you don't believe, you don't see. The moment you believe, you will see. It's not the reverse way around. I believe the new generation should start thinking that whatever Guru says, it's for our own benefit. It may be difficult, it might be too awkward for normal modern life. But we live in a world where if you don't have spiritual guidance, there are too many things around to take you in the wrong direction. The spiritual guidance makes sure that your track, your path of moving forward is not so bad. Of course, we don't ask anyone to become a Santaji. It's not easy. But leading a good life with spirituality is important. And that is what Satguruji Singh taught me. It was always a feeling of something exciting happening. The first thing is you feel excitement. Pasha aa rahe ne, Pasha sanu darshan de rahe ne. And your feeling is, okay, time to go and welcome him. And my mom used to take me to the airport when I was a kid. Later on, when I had a chance, I used to take my wife to the airport. And the feeling is, okay, yes, it's like a Christmas has arrived. You know, it's like a time you're going to receive gifts, invisible ones. You're going to have a feeling that blessings are going to be thrown at us, invisible flowers are coming. And we felt the aura, we felt the presence, we knew this is special. I mean, I've gone to pick up people who are big CEOs in the past from IBM and all. It's different. Picking him up is just a normal thing. Okay, let's go there, pick them, put in the car, and let's go and eat something. This is different. This is like you feel it. He's here to solve our problems. The feeling of that anyone who had problems was always welcome to talk to him was always going to happen. And everyone goes to the airport thinking, is dore mein ki bachan hona hai, sanu ki hukam deta jayega, sada takleefa kiਵੇਂ ਦੂਰ ਕਰਨਗੇ. You know, all that feeling was, anticipation was always there. And the reverse thing happens when he was about to go. You know, the last day you would feel sadness begins. You know, he's departing. Everyone wants to run to the dere. My last glimpse of him. And I used to always feel, no, last glimpse has to be at the airport. You see him off in the immigration. But I always feel the best time to see him in the airport was when he arrives. The welcome used to be always better than the farewell. The farewell used to be a bit sad. You can see in everyone's face. And it was like, Pasha ja rahe ne. Itna 10 din kam lagda paisi. You know, he comes for 10 days, 15 days, 4 days sometimes, you know, for a poke. And we used to feel that, you know, it's like someone who's not finished drinking something or eating something and the food is taken away. It's gone. The feeling was there. It was never, the thirst was never quenched. Never enough, basically. There were dores where he was here with 30 days. And in between, I used to think,ตื่นตอนเช้าอีกแล้วไม่จบสักที and you know, by the time the last day comes, I'm like, oh, he's going. Life is back to normal and I don't like the normal life. The feeling, it's a mixed feeling when you stays long, but it was, when he was short, it was pure, I want him to stay longer. That's the feeling of departure. Okay, during those days, when in the past, when people used to go to Panisab, I remember as a kid, Panisab wasn't that developed. But I enjoyed it more. For some reason, I always enjoyed Panisab more when I was a kid. I used to go there, we used to be given a room, shared with 4 or 5 people. It was never a private room. Though we were Thais, coming from Thailand, we were given a room to share with other people and we were fine with that. The bathroom was never a bathroom, it was a coup. It was go and take your bath at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I went in the winters. You believe it? It wasn't easy to take a bath next to the coup with all that coldness. Okay, the well water was so cold. Sarovar bath was not in my agenda those days. It was more of well, you know, water from the well. And my mom used to put it all right on my head. Gone. You know that you're shivering. But yet you felt this is it. This is how life was, correct with nature. Aligned with nature, healthy living. It's not easy. I never said I can stay there for like 20, 30 days. It's not ever going to be that easy. 4 or 5 days, nice. Good trip. Feels blessed, come back, refreshed. You know, I used to take the trip to Panisab before I go to Mussoorie. My mom did that. And you used to feel that, okay, ready for next 9 months of studies. I remember Pasha actually visited Mussoorie once. That was the time when I ran from school to meet. He came to Mussoorie and Dehradun for a trip. That was when we were already grown up. It was high school. Bunking classes was a normal thing. And I was the only Namdhari in my school who felt I needed to go and meet him. Others were not that interested. They were coming from different families who had different backgrounds. And eventually I just used eye specialist. You know, we used to say eyes are paining and all that stuff. And we used to get a certificate and walk out from school for no reason. And that was when I went to Dehradun. I missed the chance to meet him in Mussoorie itself, but I went all the way to Dehradun. I remember Chakrata Road, and he was there visiting one of the shops, Namdhari shops. And I got a chance to actually wait there because someone told me he was going to come there. And he was surprised to see me there. It was a good feeling. It was a very short visit because he saw me, he said, Kaka, kiਵੇਂ ਆਇਆ? And like, Pasha, school, Mussoorie ਤੇ ਹੈ ਗਿਆ, ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆ ਗਿਆ. And he was laughing, but it was only for 15-20 seconds. I remember it was a very short trip. In fact, sometimes you feel it's not enough. I come down 3 hours and I'm waiting for him for 2 more hours, 5 hours gone, and he gives me 15 seconds and you feel it's not enough. And yet when he's gone, I feel, yeah, it was worth it. Better than nothing. You know, now I'm going back home. I know nothing can go wrong with me. I'll go and tell my mom about it. She'll feel so proud of me, even though I bunked classes. Yeah, that was the feeling. So okay, let's go back to Panisap. Roti was never easy to eat. It used to be this big, one pulka. I mean roti, whatever they were called, prashada. And nowadays it's much different. Those days my mom used to bring it from Satguru Maan Singh's law, and it used to be so difficult to eat. I don't know what they made it from. It didn't even feel like atta. It was more like, I don't know what they mixed it. And it was difficult to eat, and I used to go in one bite at a time, and my mom used to finish my jutta for me because I couldn't finish it. And yeah, I remember food was difficult, taking bath was difficult, but the afternoons were the best time. You get to run around, look at the kid, look at the bears guy, and you had we used to play gulli danda as a kid in Panisap, you know, gulli danda game. I remember that till today, and that was the best time ever. And you know, I remember not wanting to go to Panisap, my first trip, and my mom took me for 7 days. First 2 days I was crying, I don't want to be here. And the last day my mom said, let's go. I said, I don't want to leave. Because I was making friends as well, you know, the local friends there. And I don't want to leave. I'm playing with them. I was playing football with them. You know, there was a ground, very small. Not the ground I see today, that's huge. A very small area where they were playing football a bit. Cricket was so prominent those days, and I used to join all the cricket sessions in Panisap. It was fun. Knowing that you were there, and at any time, because we were Thais, we were given special privilege to walk into a Pasha's dairy at any time. There was no security guard like today, but yet, you know, you could open the door and no one was going to stop us. And you know, you can go and sit there, wait, he's going to come by this way, and you know, we're going to get darshan. And it was like unlimited darshan. It was darshan day, morning, evening, afternoon, anytime. My mom was, and we were kids, we didn't understand much, but you knew this was special going on. This is like a pilgrimage to Panisap. When you grow up, you try to tell the kids, let's go. They start thinking, how long are we going to be there? 1, 2, 3, maximum 3 please. And I'm like, you guys are missing real life. And you know what? All the other things I add on to the trip, like let's go to Delhi, let's go to other places. It's all your tourists. This is not tourism. We're not going to Panisap as a tourist spot. Please don't do that. And so let's not count days. Let's go there till we are fully quenched, and then we plan further from there. They don't. This generation is not easy to convince them on that. So, with my kids to Panisap, not yet. They never let me plan it. They're going to go eventually on their own, I guess. They went with I missed that trip when they went. All of the youth went to Panisap. I missed that trip. Everyone else went. I had to stay back to help take care of my father because he wasn't well. Everyone else went. My mom was there. They all had a nice time. They enjoyed it. But that was special treatment for the youth. I would wonder if they have to go on a different way, would they actually enjoy that much? It's up to them the heart to open first. And let's hope that happens.